for the hardest-hitting show in talk radio. The true progressive voice since 2012. This is Southpaws.
Welcome to Southpaws on the Pacifica Radio Network. We are the leaders of the revolution. My name is Darren Gibson, and I'm your co-host.
And my name is Jack Prince, your fellow co-host.
We've got quite a bit of exciting news to talk about today. Well, one piece right off the top that we're kind of thrilled about, and we'll get to that in just a minute. Before we get started, a couple of reminders that you can follow us on social media by going to facebook.com/Southpaws Radio Show. You can follow us on Twitter at Southpaws Radio, and you can become a patron of the show by going to patreon.com/Southpaws Radio. And, of course, you can listen to us anytime you like at Spreaker.com. Do a search for Southpaws there. You can find us on the iTunes Store. Search under Podcast for Southpaws, and once you find our logo, you've found us. And, of course, you can listen to us on Pacifica Radio all across the country and around the world, including KCEI-FM in Taos, New Mexico, and on Global Community Radio Channel 1 every Monday night at 9 p.m. right after Democracy Now! So make sure you listen to us. And if your station does not carry us, please call them up and ask them to carry our show. And for you Pacifica stations that are taking us on an automatic download, get a hold of us. We want to give you some publicity. We want to make sure that we're announcing your call letters and just proudly supporting us. We really do appreciate it. So get a hold of us. All right. Big news this morning, Jack. I couldn't believe it. We're recording on Friday, August 23rd, and we got the news this morning that David Koch, one of the Koch brothers, passed away this morning at the age of 79 years old. This is kind of a bit of a shock. I didn't realize that he was sick.
Yeah, I didn't either. That's physically sick.
Yeah. Well, we've got this. This is by Alicia Fieldstadt, reporting for NBC News. David Koch, billionaire, conservative activist, and philanthropist, has died. He was 79. Charles Koch, in a statement Friday, said, quote, "It is with a heavy heart that I announce the passing of my brother David. Anyone who worked with David surely experienced his giant personality and passion for life." End of quote. David Koch stepped down last year from helping to run the family business, Koch Industries, a Kansas-based energy and chemical corporation. Charles Koch is the company's chairman and chief executive officer. The brothers were tied as the 11th richest people in the world this year in a ranking by Forbes. At the time of his death, David Koch was worth $42.4 billion with a B dollars. Well, Jack, I'm going to stop right there for a minute. I guess it just proves you can't take it with you, can you? With the wealth from their business, the Koch brothers helped to build a massive conservative network of donors for organizations that work to mobilize voters and sway elected officials in support of libertarian-leaning economic policies. The network, led by the nonprofit Americans for Prosperity, has spent more than $1 billion over the past several elections to support candidates who adhere to their free market, small government, libertarian ideals. And, of course, on this show, we happen to call Americans for Prosperity assholes f***ing the poor, because that's just exactly what's happening there. Let me continue. But the organization sometimes split with the GOP under Donald Trump. It launched a multi-million-dollar campaign last year promoting free trade and warning against tariffs. Well, yeah, because it was going to hurt their business. Mm-hmm. David Koch himself ran as the Libertarian Party's vice presidential candidate in 1980. He and the party's presidential nominee, Ed Clark, won a little more than 1% of the vote. The Libertarian Party said in a statement Friday, quote, "Today, our 1980 nominee for Vice President David Koch passed away. Often a focal point of political debate, David spent much of his life contributing and working in his own way toward what he believed in." a freer world, end of quote.
It's always...
Let me stop there, because free for who? It certainly isn't for his workers who are not allowed to join unions. It's a freer world for the Kochs and the rich buddies.
The term free is pablum for the simple-minded conservative nation and libertarians, which are just a nicer version of a conservative. The constant term to answer everything is free or freedom. We've talked about that. You want to have gun control? No, that's infringement on freedom. You want to have no matter what it is, but we're free. We're free.
Mm-hmm.
What's the song that drives you absolutely into hives? At least I'm free, right? At least
I'm
proud to be an American.
Yeah, Lee Greenwood. I hate that song. Well, I wish they would burn every copy of it.
Okay, they don't get a lot of material through their brain cells. But that song is their just a mantra.
It is their
and
mantra.
Listen to the song. Listen to what it says. But at least I know.
Yeah,
I'm free.
I'll read it. I'm proud to be an American because at least I know I'm free, and I'm proud to. I can't remember
so that's
it all.
It. So you get accused of
beating
your wife in Mississippi and drinking too much beer. But at least I'm free. I'm free, no matter what the problem. At least I'm free.
And support the military who gave that right to me, or however they phrase it. Yeah. But at the same time, that these conservatives are purporting to love veterans and love the military, they're cutting military pay, military pensions, refusing to give soldiers raises and stuff like that. So
the farmers right now are coming out dogmatically and saying Trump took our markets away.
Yeah.
And what's the answer? But at least we're free. We're free. We're free. No, you're not free. You can call yourself free all day long. You're not free to sell your products anymore. So when you say you're free, what the hell do you mean you're free? You're free to be an idiot. You're free to shoot your mouth off.
Free dumb, as you've said on the show before.
You're free to be a stupid ass.
You're free to be dumb.
That's it.
It is. They don't realize they may not have the physical shackles around their ankles.
Not yet.
But they are being hamstrung.
Yeah.
Big time. And they're too dumb to even see it. Let me continue here. David Koch, a prostate cancer survivor, donated hundreds of millions of dollars to medical research. He was also a huge supporter of the arts, specifically in New York City. And his donations included $65 million to support a renovation of the Metropolitan Museum of Art. The David H. Koch Theater and the David H. Koch Dinosaur Wing were named for him following contributions to Lincoln Center and the American Museum of Natural History, respectively. Yeah, the Dinosaur Wing. That does sound like conservatives. Dinosaurs. And I'm talking to not just the conservative Republicans, but I'm also talking to the conservative Democrats, you centrists out there.
You don't have to be redundant.
Yeah. When he was diagnosed with cancer 27 years ago, he was given 5 years to live, his brother said. Charles Koch's statement continued, quote, David liked to say that a combination of brilliant doctors, state-of-the-art medications, and his own stubbornness kept the cancer at bay. We can all be grateful that it did because he was able to touch so many more lives as a result. The significance of David's generosity is best captured in the words of Adam Smith, who wrote, to indulge our benevolent affections constitutes the perfection of human nature, end of quote. Yeah,
That's Adam Smith, the guy that wrote the treatise on economics here?
Yeah.
That's the same guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's an appropriate quote for Davey.
Yeah. Here's how he touched more lives. He slapped unions down. That's how he touched lives.
Yep.
David Koch is also survived by his wife, Julia, and their 3 children. Julia Koch said in a statement, quote, while we mourn the loss of our hero, we remember his iconic laughter, insatiable curiosity, and gentle heart. His stories of childhood adventures enlivened our family dinners. His endless knowledge rendered him our walking Google. His sensitive heart had him shed a tear at the beauty of his daughter's ballet and beam with pride when his son beat him at chess. We will miss the 5th link in our family. End of quote.
Okay, let's just back up here a second. Now, you talked about the dismantling of unions. I have a personal story about Koch's influence on helping people, touching people.
Is this the In These Times article that you're reading from?
No. This is my own experience. I'm not even reading from
okay.
this. Just take a second.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was in a school a number of years ago before I retired that, like all schools, at least all public schools today, was strapped for cash, right?
Yeah.
It used to be you'd put an order in the spring for books, I taught literature, that you wanted to have the school buy. Mm-hmm. And let's just be hypothetical. Say you wanted to buy To Kill a Mockingbird. So your set was worn out, okay? And then you'd be given a slip that it was granted, and it would be there in the fall. You'd go and get it out of the storage room.
Yeah.
This happened. For years I saw this happen. Well, we couldn't do it any longer. The money wasn't there. So guess what showed up all of a sudden in my mailbox was an offer from Koch, explicitly had his name on it.
Really?
Now, I don't know if he purposely saw our problem there at Union High School. I doubt that. Maybe somebody called him, but I think it was a national mailing because he knew he helped orchestrate the shortage of money to the public school system. Okay? Mm-hmm. So you break the system, but then you come with help. But here was the help he had. You need reading material? We'll supply the books free. What was the top of the book? What was the first one?
Let me guess. Probably something about conservative economics.
Ayn Rand.
Close enough.
Yeah.
Close enough.
Now, how many schools? I mean, what was the something Atlas? What is it?
Atlas Shrugged.
Yeah, Atlas Shrugs. It supposedly is of some significance in the literary world. I wouldn't compare it with To Kill a Mockingbird. I wouldn't compare it with many novels. But here's the bottom line: it is a novel, and when you have no novels and you're sitting in a cash-strapped school, you're going to get it. It's free. You want 500 copies for 3 classes? You got it. Free. Mm-hmm. How many people did he help? I'm being sarcastic. Well, it was sending them the book Atlas Shrugged. And that's not the only one from the atheist who died on welfare, I believe, who was totally against government spending, the so-called leader libertarianism, who used the public, do I dare say, social outreach.
Yeah.
Yeah. So total contradiction, total hypocrisy, and I don't call that helping. Even though people say, hey, he's helping you out. Yeah. He's sending you free books.
Yeah, it's help, but it's not the kind of help that sane people are looking for.
Yeah, you need toilet paper? I got some. It just got barbed wire mixed into it. Go for it.
And that's funny you mentioned that because don't the Koch brothers own Georgia Pacific?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right there you go. There's your proof right there, and Georgia Pacific, I believe, used to be a union shop. Not anymore. Hasn't been for a while. So not under the ownership of these guys.
So on his obituary, we could say he was a swiper. Or swipe. David Koch, swipe dies.
All right, that's enough. That's enough because I've already got to do enough editing at this point.
All right.
All right.
Got a little fun on Friday.
Yeah, well, we've got this story. You know, we've talked about the legacy of the Kochs. You know, NBC just makes it sound like he's all happy and a box of fluffy ducks or whatever. Well, we have the truth for you. You know, I'm glad he's gone, and yes, I know there's people out there that say, oh, you should never speak ill of the dead. I was always taught never to speak ill of the dead. Well, I was taught to always speak the truth, no matter how inconvenient it is. And here we go. This is Lisa Graves writing for In These Times. This is an old article. It's dated July 12th of 2018. But this just goes to show you the legacy of the Koch brothers. Let me start. With the monumental Janus decision by the Supreme Court, the Koch family won a major victory in their multi-generational attack on unions. The ruling spreads to the entire public sector, one of the laws the Koch fortune first helped push through in Kansas 60 years ago. Right to work. And in doing so, it enshrines the union-busting agenda their fossil fuel money has helped advance for decades. Through a single vote, the court's 5-4 Janus decision reverses decades of legal precedent that had obstructed part of the Koch's pro-corporate agenda. That vote was secured with the Koch's help in bankrolling efforts that include helping to maintain a GOP Senate majority, helping the Senate block President Obama from filling the February 2016 Supreme Court vacancy, and helping to win the confirmation of right-wing corporate activist Neil Gorsuch. Janus helps cement the nation's highest